And welcome back, everybody, to the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money-taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying villain in all of YouTube today, General Zod. And today's a special day for me, folks. Today is a day that's been emotional. I was on Rob's stream. We talked about a lot of heavy stuff. And then a good friend of mine, who we've talked about Cobra Kai since it came out. He's so awesome. Some call him the proper one. I know because he used to correct my grammar and my talking when I read articles. I think that was some of the highlights. Mr. Justin Proper is on the channel. Welcome, Justin. It's great to have you on, man. It's like a class reunion.
Of two.
Yeah. Well, you know,
everyone else is dead, and we're the last ones left.
we're the surviving members of the dojo. But no, we're actually here to talk Cobra Kai, and in the description, I have left the link for Justin Proper's channel. You can go check him out. He's got like numerous awesome reviews. He had a great panel on, and they reviewed. But
season 3,
yeah, on season 3, and you know, something's always been special when we did our reviews of season 1 and 2. I had a great time, so I'm really glad you can be here, man. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your channel.
I'm Justin Proper. I started as a meme, and now my avatar's a meme right now. Hashtag wheelchair Miguel. Fan of Cobra Kai. I used to be a fan of Star Wars. Well, I'm still a fan of Star Wars, not the new stuff. And I had the last month, I had something that I'd like to call the 25 Days of Torture, where each day of December leading up to Christmas, I watched a terrible Christmas movie, and I'm still sorting together which ones I hated the least. You know, they were all pretty bad. So look forward to that. And there's a couple of fun streams. My favorite one was it was a watch party of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 with the Rookie Critic. And I have not laughed as hard as I have in my entire life. So that was a ton of fun. So go check that out. I just saw an article today that was very infuriating from the LA Times talking about how Cobra Kai has a problem with whiteness, if you can believe that.
You know, and it's funny you mention that, because a lot of people who are coming into my chat right now, welcome Aura of Peace, welcome Amanda, welcome Jana. We'll get some people from Rob's stream in here. If you guys didn't check it out, you guys are probably from that stream. It was a very heartfelt stream. It was a little bit more serious than what we're doing here now. But
everything okay?
Yeah, we just touched on a lot of different stuff. There was something that happened in the community, and we were talking about someone potentially hoaxing everyone, pretending to do a suicide or something. So we all gave our stories. It was a heavy stream. So go check
someone was pretending? What?
Well, yeah, it turns out that someone said that they did, and it might not be true. So, you know, we were talking about our feelings about that, and it was some good stuff. I gave my own personal story with it, and you know, it was some serious stuff. But I want to keep this lighthearted because
Talk to me who this fucker is, who's faking.
Well, no, I don't want to get into it because I don't know much about.
No, tell me about it later, because that pisses me off.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you off air, but. I mean, you know, it's good because people are coming from that stream. We're going to keep it lighthearted here. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk some Cobra Kai, and I want to address, before we get into our thoughts of the season, I want to address something. I don't mind critics critiquing a show for problems, and there are problems in Cobra Kai season 3. We've talked about this off air. There are a lot of different issues that we both felt disappointed with the season. But I hate the critics go to of, instead of pointing out what's wrong with the show, they go to there's too many white actors and all of this, and it's like the show has organically. Oh, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Amia H. You think I said that right?
I think it's Amy.
Amy H. Thank you. But yeah,
nothing changes sometimes.
no, I still have a terrible time with words, but I'm from Krypton, so there's my excuse. But yeah, and you know, I like this show, for the fact of, even if the story might not be the best. Thank you, Donald. If you guys don't know, Donald Dolan, he's awesome. He's on Rob's streams. He's just a great guy, and I really appreciate you subscribing to me. Yeah. Oh, Amy H says bingo. Okay, thank you, Proper, for properly correcting me on that. But yeah, so
I wouldn't be surprised if you pronounce Jane Davis's name as Janie. That's how terrible you are. It's actually embarrassing.
Oh yeah. I've had some pretty epic fails in my readings, but my articles have gotten better because I've forced myself to read more articles with, if you don't know, I've been following the Johnny Depp thing, so I've been reading a lot of different articles. But yeah, you know, this is another thing I want to talk to you guys about, because I hate how the media, and this falls into everything I've been talking about for the past year now, is the narrative that they want to push. And you know what, Justin? They don't like shows like this, because for all the problems that Cobra Kai has, and it does have quite a bit of problems within the story, it does something that the media doesn't like, and it stays true to the roots of where it came from, and it doesn't push aside characters for agendas or political pandering. And that's what that article, if you read between the lines, was talking about. They're like, oh my goodness, white males in a show? Oh my God.
It's so terrible. By the way, apparently Janie is how you pronounce it. Okay, so that's on me. Did you know that? Because I didn't.
Yes, Janie has been awesome, and
you didn't correct me. You let them do it.
hey, I owe you for some of the corrections. It's not often I get to get the proper one.
You did, but I mean, you didn't actually do it. It was Hendrika who did that. And Janie. So you didn't say anything. It's like you didn't even realize. You had no idea.
But anyways,
thank you for the correction, by the way. I appreciate that. So yeah, it is not very often where I get corrected.
He almost prides himself on being the proper one.
Sometimes I just do it to be a dick, but you know, it's all in good fun. If you're gonna
Let me ask you,
what
with this article, did they mention?
I have something pulled up, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I can get that up, but here's what I can do. I just have like the Twitter thread here. So
Twitter, of course.
Yeah, but I think I'm able to get. I have the article up on my laptop though. Somehow it let me do that. Okay. So basically, this whole. Or did you already have it highlighted? Oh, there we go. So yeah, this is something that they actually said. Except for the Latino character of Miguel, all the other people of color outside of that main cast, so it actually doesn't show as a diverse show in a sense. That is terrible writing right there. It doesn't sound right. But aside from that, there are people who actually like agreed with it. It's like this dude, said, except for the main character, no one else is a person of color. Yes, because check out all the white people that they have on the show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's not even all of them. Like what the fuck are you talking about? No one else is a person of nobody. Yeah, check out all of these white people here. I mean, like what? I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen here from this one. I think I have the article pulled up. Here we go. Oh my god! It better not refresh and make me lose it. Okay. Here's the actual article here. If you want to go through it, or do you want to just talk about the show?
No. I think this is important before we get into our review, because this is going to highlight the difference between us giving a review and saying story issues that we have, as opposed to what this joke of the media has done. And they're focusing on the non-important parts, like representation, which has been this thing. I so hate that you can't critique. You're a checkmark. You're a blue checkmark critic, and your critique is, well, I felt the diversity was lacking in the show. They're just they didn't meet all of the check boxes. Where's the transgender blind black person in it? Where's the
where are they? Yeah, I want to know.
They make these ridiculous hoops for these shows to jump through that are unrealistic. You're never going to check every box in the world. And I think that when you focus on that, you kill your story, because there's so many shows we can name that absolutely positively destroyed their show in the pursuit for an agenda. And we see it thousands of times. So let's go to this show article here. Of course, the Los Angeles Times. They're always good.
Oh, all right, you have it. At Netflix, Cobra Kai broke out. Now its whiteness is under a new spotlight. Isn't that fantastic? And this is even better. The first million paragraphs just talk about the show. That's it. Nothing really of importance. Not gonna lie. It's basically useless. But here we have. Let's see over here. I don't know, how long is this fucking thing? I need to actually put up ad block at this point. It's actually slowing down my computer. What the hell? But basically, it shows a little later on how all of these different critics are cited as it says something. Here's something that it said that it was that was really stupid. Believe it or not, they said that Daniel LaRusso is the most Japanese person on the show, which I thought was kind of funny. I mean,
which is like they didn't spend as much time, and I'm going to highlight this as one of my points of contention. They didn't spend as much time in Japan as they should have. Me and my dad talked about this, and I'll be on with him later tonight. But we felt like they could have made that a whole season. But when you were there, I saw an Asian. They brought back that Asian dude from Karate Kid 2. I mean, growing up, and there was a reason and a motivation for him hooking up with LaRusso to teach him how to get balance again. But it's like, this is so ridiculous that they're now saying that Daniel LaRusso is and that one kid who's the bully, he's of Asian descent, I assume.
Yeah, Kyler, that made up boy's name. It's so stupid. And look, everyone that I pointed out in that tweet earlier, that's not even everyone. I can only fit 4 pictures. We could continue on this all day and count all of the non-white people here. I mean, apparently, like, if that's all they care about, I mean, they don't have a gender narrative because it passes that stupid Bechdel test. That's just a complete waste of time. You know what that is?
No, I don't.
It's something where, you know, you have to have two characters who are not males, so female, uh, in one scene, like 1 minute, that isn't talking about a man. And you have it. You actually kind of do. So, like, what else? What do you want? Like, what are these expectations that you were setting up? I don't understand it. So okay, I think this is where they start. They start saying that this is Miguel. That's his part. It says, while I would. Okay, the key to the series remains in deft interweaving of past and present with the DNA of the original films. After bringing back Karate Kid villain Don Kreese, who promptly orchestrates a hostile takeover of Johnny's students, Cobra Kai doubles down on the sadistic dojo founder's Vietnam backstory in its third season. Kreese's elevation and the heightened scrutiny that comes with being embraced by one of the most powerful companies in Hollywood also underscores the fact that there are now 3 white men at the center of Cobra Kai, a franchise rooted in and deeply indebted to Eastern tradition. Morita, who earned an Oscar nomination for his performance in the first film and died in 2005, appears in flashbacks in the series. And both Yuji Okumoto and Tamlin Tomita reprise their roles. And there's a third Asian character that you totally forgot, and I don't know who her name is either. The little girl.
Yeah, that was how LaRusso got his comment, and that's one of my points of contention. But we'll get to that when we do our review.
Supporting characters of color also saw expanded roles in the new season, but after 30 episodes on 2 platforms, Cobra Kai has yet to cast an Asian lead. Do you know why? Because Miyagi passed away. He's dead. What do you want to resurrect him? Recast him? No. You want to just throw in another Asian character just to check it off your list? What the fuck? I don't want no. He's gone. It's sad, and that's it. There's nothing else to say. Like, he would be in the show if he was alive.
Dan made a good point when she said that you can't tell a person's race by looking at them. Very true. I'm Irish and Puerto Rican. Which one do you suspect that I look more like? You be the judge of that.
An idiot.
And Enrica says, hang on. He goes to Japan, and there's a load of Japanese cast members on that episode. Thank you. This is like, there's people walking, like, they act like the show
they're all
set
Asian.
in the widest part. Look at the kids when they go to school, right? When you look at the setup of the cafeteria, or when Robbie's in prison, or not prison, but juvie. He should have been in prison. That's for our actual review.
People are gonna have a problem with that, saying like, oh yeah, all the black guys are mean and evil. Like, maybe they're just characters.
This is why I talk about this on my channel, because this is a condition that we're facing now, and it's led to everything that I've talked about. And it's why I also cover Johnny Depp. It's because of these narrow-minded politics and views that have totally skewered public perception. And you get these morons on Twitter. I don't even know who they are, who write in and go, yeah, there isn't enough representation. You know, the funny part is that person you highlighted who was on that tweet was white. Saying that. And it's like,
no, the dude was Asian.
Okay, well, all right. I couldn't see the picture of that.
I'm not looking at skin color, though. How dare you?
Oh,
How
I'm
dare
sorry.
you?
How racist
Racist.
of me. I'm Kryptonian though,
You
so it's
are.
okay. I am an illegal
What's the term?
literally to this.
What's the term for like
Word.
misgender, for misracial? Like what is
Like,
what is
Rob,
the equivalent? I don't know.
I forget. There's too much stuff to remember. Rob Rule says, "Oh no, Justin Proper."
Hi,
Dun,
Rob.
dun, dun. But I mean, it's ridiculous because this is the
This is all
exact
they see.
problems.
This is all they
Like,
see. The white people. That's it.
you know,
They don't. They're not. They're not looking around. And there was another. There's another picture of I'm gonna pull up a second thing if I can. This other screen over here. I don't know if it shows as well. You could switch to it. Does it?
yeah. Let me see if I can go and switch to it. Right? Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't even, not even getting everyone. There's more. There are more people. You know why? Because there's a diverse cast. Whether or not they're minor characters or not. And I actually really like this dude's shirt. I really like it.
I
and
actually like that character.
I'm pretty sure
too.
Dimitri, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's Jewish. Is he not?
I'm pretty sure he is too. He mentioned something in one of the episodes. I forgot. I believe
mentioned
it
the bar
was.
mitzvah. I think. I don't know, but the point is, like, what is this person really just like look at it? Just why is it? Why are they looking at just skin color? Why? I don't understand it.
And Jana Dean says, at General Zod, two of us are fighting over who's whiter.
Who said that?
Jane.
Oh,
Jana.
Yeah, who's whiter? Oh wow. Well, I mean, I guess it's technically Zod because my avatar is Miguel.
But I mean, that was a good way to start off this review because, folks, we're not going to review like that. Whenever you come to my channel or you go to Proper's channel, we're going to give you guys strictly facts. If we have an issue with a show or we have a critique, we're going to give you scenes and things, and we'll talk back and forth on why particularly it bothers us because if you're a critic, and I feel this strongly, and it's the biggest thing that pisses me off about a critic. If you're a critic, it's like taking any other oath you take. And yes, I'm going to put it up there with doctor's oaths and things like that, because you have a responsibility to give your opinion on a show based upon the show itself, based upon its story, based upon maybe the camera work, or the technical aspects.
And you know what? I'll even put it out there. You can absolutely salute a show's diversity, but it's not just diversity within skin color. It's about what types of characters they are, because they're so different. Everyone's background, like that kind of diversity as well, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, look, but when you only look at just people's skin color when it comes to character, that's the problem. I don't care if people are excited that they get to see, young kids get to see Miguel and they're like, sweet, I can, it's kind of like when I was a kid, I liked Kevin Bacon and Michael J. Fox because they had the same kind of hair as I did. I don't know, but I was a young kid then. And I get where people are coming from, but when you get older though, you should learn that it's not just about your race or your gender. It's who you relate to personally, whose personality matches you, because there are people who have similar personalities that just click very well, that happen to be, a man or a woman and their friends, or it could be like whatever you want, whatever it might be. But it's what's beneath the skin, not what's outside of it. I don't know, man. It bothers me.
And to highlight something else that is dangerous about always focusing on this. You create racism and sexism when you highlight races and sexes. They don't. That's the oxymoron about this argument, is that when you solely focus on something just for those things, you are inherently marginalizing one group or another. So in your quest for diversity, for making a show more diverse and having more representation, you're actually pushing people aside, because to prop one person up, what do you have to do, Proper? You have to knock down another group. And we've seen it 1,000 times. When you specifically want something, then you are saying, whether you believe it or not, you are saying, I am putting this group down because I want this group represented. And that's not the definition of representation. The definition is that everyone is represented equally, that everyone has an equal and fair opportunity, right? And it's not based on your race, gender, sexual orientation, or any of that. And acting shouldn't be about that. Acting should be about whether you're perfect for the role, not how many boxes you check, but how in line you are with the character. And that's why we have the shitty actors we have now, honestly, is because
I'm
Hollywood,
sure. Well, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Because Hollywood does that. Go ahead.
Certainly there are plenty of roles that are just written, are made for specific races, specific genders. Not necessarily Sam or Amanda, the LaRussos. I mean, I guess you could have, but you can't have like two white parents and then like have a biological daughter and then they're a different race. That causes many questions. And like, you know what I mean? But you also, you have Miguel, and Miguel was probably written very much to be Latino, because guess what? In the Valley, Latinos live there. They live in Reseda.
It's not, the way they write the characters, though, is not diversity for the sake of diversity. They write the characters well, and that was shown in the first and the second season.
They want to write a character with a rich background.
Exactly.
I think somewhere in the article they even say, what was the quote exactly? Because it was a good quote, and very, very smart one. They said, the creator saying, having made this is what I have to remind myself of, like, having made Harold and Kumar, we're very what was it? We've been particularly sensitive to Asian American representation in movies and television. And by the way, another movie where we don't think about the race of the people who are on screen. All we think about is that they're stoners, and this movie is funny. It makes me laugh.
Oh, yeah, I love those movies. Wildcard says trying to diversify originally was needed. Now, if it has to do with acting, they need to cast the best actor. And I agree. The reason why you have such crappy stuff is because they're not casting the person who fits the role, who could act the role. I remember when they did that thing on the Bryan Cranston movie where he played paraplegic, and they got such, like, in the reviews, they just slammed this movie. It was a great movie, but it was like, why couldn't we get someone who's paraplegic to play it? It's like, so what, you want to get a serial killer to play in a serial killer movie? I mean, it's acting. They are paid to act as the role they're given, right? If they're blind, but they're not really blind, they're played to act blind. I mean, watch Daredevil on Netflix. He isn't blind, but he does a really good job playing a blind guy.
Right. And I think, Hawk, if I remember correctly, he has a physical deformity, or at least of whatever sorts. He had a cleft lip. And then they had surgery to fix it. They called him Lip. And then, he got the hawk, and hey, you know what? It's all good. And it's hinted that he's autistic. There you go.
Yeah.
Another box you can check off, and you don't even give a shit. You're still complaining.
Jamie Vick says, I've always said that diversity does nothing more than point out our differences rather than trying to see how alike we actually are, regardless of the color of our skins. Excellent point, Jamie. That's excellent. And that's the biggest thing that's made like you rant about me, other people, is that when you point this stuff out, you're actually harming the group you're supposedly trying to represent because you're ostracizing them. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be because of these things they are able to overcome and get through difficult times for the person that they are, not because of the race they are, the gender they are. It's people are people. So we spent a lot of time on this.
yeah, and just to wrap it up, I guess at the end of the day, I don't understand. I get how you want to have people of different color in different movies, and that's awesome. And the narrative shouldn't be don't just have it all be white people. Just be whoever you want. Like, just make your movie, make it fun, make it enjoyable, and people won't even think about that as long as it's enjoyable. But some people have this lens where that's all that they see, and that is the problem. It's not the fact. I disagree with the person who said slightly that diversity does nothing but just point out those differences. No, it shows that there are different people that exist. And really, I think the point comes to whether or not that's all they focus on. And what does the race have to do with it? Sometimes nothing. What does it have to do with Miguel? A lot. It really does. And it makes it for a more rich character, a rich story. And it's enjoyable to watch. And heck, Miguel's one of my favorite characters, and he was in a wheelchair for a while, and I liked it. I very much liked it.
So yeah, let's jump into this review right away. So one of the things that we talked about and we've gone back and forth about is, while we're on Miguel, let's talk about that arc. There's points where I found it realistic that he was doing this, but at the same time, I felt like they should have extended that because me being in martial arts and having a couple of injuries, my shoulder is still disconnected. Like, if I hit it just the right way, I'll get out of place and have to do the whole Mel Gibson thing. If you guys ever seen Lethal Weapon, and pop it back into place, and it cracks like that and everything. So yeah, it sucks. Thank you, New York healthcare. They didn't line it up right. But so when I'm watching this, and this is now a story issue that I have, folks, not a diversity issue, a story issue, is that I felt like, and I feel like you share this sentiment, what they did with Miguel, they should have had that play a little bit more, because I feel like his recovery was too quick. Like, they just wanted him to recover, to build up to this big thing at the end where you had all of your kids that were in the corresponding dojos, and you have this coming together, right? But I felt like his journey should have been a little bit longer with that, because I feel like it doesn't capture the long-term effects. Like, the end, and we talked about this, when he's at that fight and the kid's punching him just about where he got injured, and it's like, I can't buy that, because dude, you just came back from almost being paralyzed for the rest of your life. And this is where I feel like they kind of rush certain story threads, and they should slow down and kind of focus more on getting a little bit more realism in it, because I feel like that's not something he would have recovered from like a season. I think it would have been more beneficial to show it over time, and then maybe in season 4 you have him starting to train even harder because he wants to get into the tournament, and then that plays. Yeah, you know that
little moments like when I know it's like the first half of the season really that he's wheelchair Miguel. We didn't really get to see him out of the hospital the first episode or two, I don't think. So yeah, I distinguish between wheelchair Miguel and Miguel just because like, I mean, look, I just enjoyed seeing that there were, yeah, and I laugh about it and people think it's funny and everything, but I'm like, but people who are thinking like, oh, you're laughing at the poor Latino kid who's in the wheelchair, haha. Like, no, I like seeing a struggle. I like good storytelling. I like that this show has consequences. Nothing is wrapped up in a little bow. He could be paralyzed. And in here, it was a little too quick. But I did like the moments leading up to it, like when he's tapping his foot at the Dee Snider concert. I like that. Even when he's, standing up, I was like, okay, like you can stand up, you can balance yourself, but you can't like move your legs so quickly. Like I would have liked that a little bit more. Like when he's walking so easily at school, maybe he can't like walk up the stairs. I don't know. And they did a montage of physical training with Johnny. They did show him struggle. I just don't think that it was. I think because it was the first day of school where he got injured, and now by Christmas time, he's up and fighting and kicking ass, and it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, Henrika agreed with you. Said it was an unrealistic recovery time. Yeah, and see, this is stuff that should be highlighted because there is points in the show where there's convenience in it for moving along plot, and those little things bug me because of the fact you'll see really great, well-written scenes and parts like that just get at the heartstrings, right? Like the concert and things like that. And then to the writer's detriment, they sometimes, I feel like, they rush along what they want to do to get from point A to point B. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, he's recovering, but now he's better. And it's like, no, you should then kind of switch the focus to other characters.
Right. He threw away the wheelchair and the crutches. Like, no, what happens if you need that again? Your mom's going to have to go back and buy another one. You're going to have to buy more. Like, you just, like, seriously, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I would have liked it better if, it was a great moment when Hawk decided to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to, return to form and, beat the shit out of the guys who are harming Dimitri. But I would have liked it more if Kyler was punching, Miguel's, back in that way. And then Hawk is like, no, I'm not letting this happen. No, fuck you. You are not going to do that.
Yeah, like I think with that, they could have showed, I know that months are passing in between so that they can kind of justify it with the passage of time, but I feel like what they should have done is, if you didn't want him in the wheelchair, that's fine, but show the overall physical struggle that he has. So when that fight happens, don't make it Miguel have a hero moment at that time. Have someone else come in, and that will be their hero moment. Because what Hawk did when he defended Dimitri was cool, but I thought it would have had more impact if he helped Miguel, because this is the person, he was friends with him too, and he was clearly hurt throughout the show when he left Cobra Kai. And that could have been a turning point, because he could have been like, yeah, you know what? Miguel was the one who I followed into Cobra Kai, so I'm going to follow him out. You know what I mean? It would have been a more impactful for his motivations, and it would have not given Miguel that kind of like Superman thing at the end. Because him doing that flip, I'm sorry, I could not buy him flipping over that guy. I'm like, dude, you were just paralyzed like a couple of months ago, and you do a crazy flip over someone.
4 months.
4 months? No, I can't. I can't get behind that, because it's not realistic. Like, I mean, even if you showed like he tried to get out maybe, right? Or he tries to flip and then he stumbles and falls or something like that. And then the kid beats him. That I could have brought because it'd been like, okay, he's got the motions down, but his body just, there's so much more they could have did to make some of the stuff more dramatic and impactful. And I think that's just missed opportunities in the writing that
you
that they
mentioned
kind of sacrificed.
Right. And you mentioned that was a Superman moment. I thought that the Superman moment was when during the season 2 finale. I thought he was going to be a quadriplegic. I'm sorry, that was just bad. I don't know.
No, that injury was serious, man. I mean, I thought that where it was going was they were going to be by his hospital bed. There was going to be all this cheering him on. And I'm sorry, guys, this might sound morbid, bear with me, but like he would have just been in a coma, and then Johnny had to deal with that. I mean, I'm sorry, baby, my mind just. But okay, but look at season 2, man. It was slow mo, like down that about. That was highlighted for a reason. And when you see it, it's just like, writers, you did a good job. I mean, that scene, no matter if you particularly care for this season or not, but that scene for me was one of those scenes you get in television that I like to call the holy shit moment, where you yell at your television, because that's what I did, and I'm sure you did that too, when you just yell, "Oh shit, that just happened!" Like,
I was outside, I was smoking a joint, and I was like, no!
You gotta get counseling. You call your friends, you're drinking a bottle, like, I don't know what happened.
No, not quite that. I was relaxing, I was having a good time, and I was like, no. I was like, no, this is wrong. This is all wrong.
Oh, man, I was like, I thought I was gonna need to seek therapy. I was like, I drank a fifth of Jack Daniels. I'm like, fucking Robbie, he showed you mercy, Robbie. What the fuck, man? You were the chosen one. Right. You were supposed to bring balance to the force, not destroy it.
And now look this is a perfect transition to talk about what happened to him this season. He was spending most of his time running away from the cops. Okay, we get that. Then Daniel turns him in, and it's like, you dick. You fucking dick. Why did you do that?
Oh, yeah, keep chatting. I just got to do something for a second.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. I don't like how at the very end, I mean, I like that Robbie joined Cobra Kai with Kreese, and Kreese had visited him in juvie. I thought that was very interesting. But I think at the end of the day, when I look at that, I'm just like, this, like I didn't predict it, but I'm just like, okay, I see where this is going. And then at the end of it, I'm looking at all of the Cobra Kai students, the current ones under Kreese, and I'm like, wow, so all the bad guys are on one side now, people we don't like, and the good guys are all in this new Eagle Fang / Miyagi-Do thing, which is they're gonna have issues of their own, Johnny and Daniel. It's kind of interesting, like the yin and yang are now coming together. But back to Robbie, he's the only one in Cobra Kai that I actually kind of sympathize, because both his father figures failed him, his actual father, and I guess Daniel as well. He was hurt, and it's all about miscommunication, all of it, every single moment of it.
That arc I can buy more, because they established that when you look from season 1 to now. I brought that arc. I almost anticipated it because of the fact when you look at his history from first meeting LaRusso to where we are right now, that's the difference between, like, say, his arc and Miguel's arc, is that you see where people have been failing him, not just with this situation, but throughout his whole entire life. So there's really, that was, to me, done a little bit better, because there is a tipping point for everybody where, you have people who fail you, and then you have the smooth talking Kreese who comes in and he's like, yeah, I meant toward your father, but he failed me and all this stuff. It's kind of like, it's really Star Wars-esque when you think about it, because that's the Sidious right there. And he's like, come with me and you will achieve absolute power.
Yeah. Guys absolutely should have written Star Wars. Well, I mean, maybe not, but I would have liked to have seen that. But look, you have to think about this from so many different angles. It always kind of has like this sort of hero's journey or a different sort of way of showing that for everybody, because what I liked about the first season was that there were no bad guys. I mean, there were a couple, like the bullies, but other than that, like there's nobody in Cobra Kai that I care about. I mean, some people might care about Tori. I think she's terrible because.
See, that's where we disagree. I totally did not like LaRusso's daughter. I think she knew what she was doing. She played both of them. That's just my personal.
Hey, you've done things when you were drunk that you didn't mean to do, or that you didn't want to.
But I mean, she knew what she was doing. That she always had them feelings, okay, bear with me. With her, she also, when you think about that whole thing, she just not only strung along poor Robbie, but then, she knew she had feelings for Miguel, and I'm just saying no one calls her out.
Even after she punched her in the face.
It was an accident.
Okay, you defend that drunken behavior, but not that? I'm sorry. That makes you a
No, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm a villain, so I'm always gonna pull swords.
Screwed up while they were inebriated in the second to last episode. It's parallelism, or whatever you want to call it. It's poetry. It rhymes. It's perfect. I liked it. But no, even Sam was much more likable because, in the last couple of seasons, yeah, you can make an argument that she was kind of pulling strings and she whatever, or she was the cause of all these problems. I'm like, no, she learns from it. She's accepted it. But in this the episode where Dimitri gets his arm broken, she has this PTSD that she can't even face it. She can't even face it. And for me, I think it worked because that's, she's so terrified because this bitch literally tried to kill her in school, like was going to blind her with those, whatever the fuck she had on.
I mean, I'm just speaking from if someone steals the person that you have feelings for, yeah, you tend to get a little bit crazy. Do I think she should have gone that far and started a school brawl? No,
she
probably
hijacked
not.
The announcements.
But that was high. They did highlight one thing, that there was this underlying tension that was always going to erupt, whether she did it that day or whether it happened somewhere else. It was always there, and most of that was from Kreese pushing these different things forward. But no, I mean, I can understand both angles. And look, I did like in Sam's arc when she went through the PTSD. I thought that was pretty cool to throw in there because it's like, yeah, then like when she touched the banister and she had flashbacks, I thought that part was actually very well done because, yeah, when you have something like that, you're not just going to bounce back and be fine. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And it was one thing to go to the school where there was no threat of this person. And actually, I even think that they made a mistake in that moment. When she was grabbing the railing, she grabbed the side that Miguel did not fall on.
Well, I mean,
and I think she should have grabbed that side. But I mean, you could say it's America. You go on the right side of the road, but I think it would have been more impactful where she was walk up the stairs and then grabbed the part where Miguel fell on, and then she felt it. I think that would have been slightly better. But again, this is just a huge nitpick. But every single little detail that you can put in matters. And I've learned more and more as while I'm watching the show, how every little thing matters. Everything matters. I used to not really think about that while being involved in making films or commercials or something, but it really does matter, everything, because you could pick something apart, and upon like watching something a second time, you can notice little Easter eggs or fun little things. It just makes for a more enjoyable experience, and it adds value to these scenes that you want to be impactful. So but again, this is just not a minor thing, though.
And Stone Cold, this one's for you.
Hey, it's good to see you, man. He's awesome. He's very actively involved in pretty much all the streams I do. I love the dude.
Oh yeah,
we gotta meet up sometime. All right, we're around the same area now.
But yeah, I mean, and for me, if I had to do flaws or why I think that this is particularly right now the weakest season, despite a few moments, I'd say for me, the flaws are more story based and things happening, happenstance and things like that. Like that whole trip to Japan. I like it, but at the same time, I felt like that could have been a season. That should have been a season of LaRusso maybe going through and rediscovering what he wants to be as a martial artist, what he wants to teach. I think there's so many things they could have explored with that, and to just throw it into one episode, I feel like it's kind of like it kind of just cheapens that whole thing. Like I like the episode for getting to see the characters. I like the fact that he learned those
a little too fast.
But yeah, it went too fast.
They can always flash back and show it, but the only thing is though that it took place in a day.
Yeah, it was literally one day, and I mean, come on, the coincidence that the person he saved happened to be the person who is the owner of the car company. Like, I understand that.
No, she's not the owner. She's like really? a senior vice president or something. She's very high up. But she,
I mean, come on,
she saves the district. Here's why I give that one a pass. The pass for me, honestly, is that in all fairness, the lesson of this is any good, and it's literally said in the episode, and it's the reason why I'm like, okay, makes sense. I give it a pass because this whole show has been perfect so far. You're allowed this one. I grant you this one. Because the lesson is literally said, what you put, the good that you put in the good that you put out in the world will always come back. That's the lesson. And hey, it's also something that was in, now that I just realize it, the first Karate Kid film, where what goes around comes around. It's actually in the movie, and when he's running away from the bullies, and he was like, when he said he had the hose on Johnny while he was literally, he was about to, light up a J, some that's not anything that was bad or anything. So he literally says, when you're running away from them, says to Allie, hey, it's coming around. I remember that very vividly. I don't know how I just saw that connection, but I didn't see anybody point out that Easter egg at all. Maybe it was said in Karate Kid Part 2. I don't know, but that's what I interpret from it.
Yeah, I mean, and I got the underlining message. It's just, once again, I feel like just getting from point A to point B, or getting from one plot to another, there is some choppiness in there that I feel like you didn't find in the first season. In the first season, I struggled to find something where I was like, oh, they could have did this slightly better. The second season, the back half, I felt like had that choppiness to it too. Even with the school fight, I mean, realistically, that would never.
I actually saw. You know what? In that one, there was a single take that was in that sequence with the school fight.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was a one take.
One of them, one of it was a one take. Or it was supposed to be, because one of my friends, I didn't notice it, but one of my friends noticed that there was a cut, like a jarring cut, and I'm like, no.
No, that's what I mean.
How did
Like,
I not see it?
there's parts in the story that are very choppy, and we talked about a fear here is that I love what they've done, and they clearly have respect and love for the material. That's not in question, because I mean, I could tell, and I love it from a personal standpoint. But if I'm being a fair critic who critiques things on my channel, I do have to highlight some technical and story aspects, because could you love something because you love the product? Yes. But could it still have flaws? Yes. And before you get anyone involved, it's fair to point out all of these things. And do I say, well, because of season 3, I'm done? No, there were a lot of enjoyable moments in this season. There were a lot of great. I loved the fight at the end between Johnny, Daniel, and Kreese. I thought that was awesome.
Or someone was going to die.
Yeah, like that set up some good.
After what happened to Miguel, I'm like,
I thought he was done. Like when he had his hand up, like he was going for that death strike, I was like, oh man, Daniel's gonna do it. And then the kids come and you see them pull back, and you realize, and I like the overall theme, which is that the cycle of violence just keeps it going. So every time there's an action, there's always an equal and opposite reaction. And, so that's been kind of a running theme. It's just, I wish that some of this stuff that gets them from one plot to another was ironed out a little bit better, because we know they've got writing talent. They wrote a tremendous first season. They understand the characters. They clearly have where they're going with the story. But I just don't want it to get rougher and rougher, or them to glaze over stuff in the interest of moving the plot, because I think that would be a mistake, and it would be something that would bring it down. I mean, I've seen it a ton of times where you have an amazing show, and over time, they kind of start losing their way with stringing along things, and they ask people to take a lot of stuff on faith. And look, the concept of Karate Kid in general, you have to take certain aspects, even in the movie, on like, okay, I'll give them that one because the rest of this is good. You know what I mean? But I just don't want the rest of the story to be that. I want a nice, smooth transition to where things would happen. Like, I thought that was a good touch when LaRusso's wife went in and slapped him, and then Kreese filed a restraining order on her. I thought that was hilarious.
Don't find out when they try to have a restraining order on him.
Yep. I mean, I thought that was a good way to explain, and I heard, Jeremy Johns explain that, where he was like, that explains why don't they call the police, right? Because he struck first. and that stuff happens. You have people who are crazy, clearly, but they'll be the ones who get the restraining orders or not, and try to make you look like the bad person. That's his whole thing. He's a manipulator. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think. Well, Kreese and might have been a dick to Daniel, but he didn't do anything to him personally. It was I mean, at this point, he may have kind of actually, you know what? In the only other scene I can think of was when he and Johnny are getting a beer or something, and Daniel comes over. He's like, "Oh, I knew it. I think that's the only time where they all are together until he shows up at the dojo, I guess." So, I mean, but he never assaulted him.
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't do that once here in the season or the series. Now that I think about it.
And it's
He
and it's
never the one to necessarily strike first when it wasn't going to benefit him. He only did that in retaliation to, Amanda. Amanda slapped him in the face.
Rob was talking about who's better, Justin Proper or Stone Cold Jeremy. Stone Cold Jeremy responded back and said, haha, at Rob Rolls, I have no content. Also, Justin keeps Jeremy locked in his basement. So
the Jeremys.
Yeah.
Quiet down
there. But yeah, and I mean, this is some of the things that we talked about, and one of the other issues with this is now you have Daniel and you have Johnny together, and you have Kreese on the other side, and this could be an issue narratively. They express in an interview they want to go on. They have an end game, but they want to go on for at least a couple of seasons.
They want to go up to season 6. However, I see this as like the beginning of the third act. They team up together, and then the 4th season wraps it up in a nice bow. They said that if that's the case, they're going to be able to do that. But if we could do 4, 5, and 6 if we can and if we're allowed to. But I think the problem with that is you rushed this season a bit because it was going to be the last season on YouTube Red or Premium or whatever, because they made this for YouTube. They said, oh, you got one more season left. We're not going to just cancel you. That'd be ridiculous. And they're like, we're going to distribute this on Netflix. And that's why we got like a fucking year-long delay almost. By the way, is the thing that I hated the most about this season, if I'm perfectly honest.
Oh yeah, a whole year, and this is the other thing too. I don't know how much
season 4 this May. Season 4 should be coming out in May, but no, they had to take their time, and they still made mistakes.
And that's what I'm saying with having a delay, and I don't know how much they had already shot, and you guys still got to factor in that COVID did halt production.
No, it didn't. Absolutely, they were not. They were done.
I'm going to say for many other things, it halted them releasing it. The thing is, if this was shot before, then I can forgive the rush because, YouTube was like, yeah, this is the final season or whatever, then I understand them. But now that they have a platform, I'm really hoping that season 4, they iron out some of the things that we picked out. Like they go through and they're like, okay, we have this time. Now we can sit back through and make sure that the story is tight, because we've picked out a couple of things. I'm sure other people have noticed things, and it's not the diversity. But
yeah, we're not talking about it whatsoever.
I know these are story issues where there really is rough transitions between the episodes. There's some where it just feels like a throwaway, and I don't want to get that feeling. Like when I watched the first season, not one episode to me doesn't feel like it doesn't have a place. You know what I mean? Like everything leads into something else. Oh yeah, it all leads into something, and it builds into this like final thing at All Valley, and then it all comes full circle, and there's that cool spin where Miguel wins for Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai's the winner after so many years, and I thought that was all.
Like this is how, and you think he's going to be an asshole? Like when he says, one of my favorite lines is like just. One of my favorite lines from him during that episode was fighting dirty. There's nothing dirty about winning, Sensei. That's something that I imagine like Charlie Sheen or like Trump saying. There's nothing dirty about winning. Like, yes, there is. Yes, there is sometimes. And then when they address it, Miguel's back to his normal self and he's not as aggressive. Which I thought they're. Oh, by the way, what kind of dentist works on the weekend because Miguel has no braces in the second season?
I know, that was weird.
I don't care again, just like yeah, the dentist works on the weekends, and it was time for his braces to get to come off. If he had gotten punched in the face, yeah, he probably would have kept them on or something. But I don't know. Again, one of those things where I'm like, yeah, the writers can easily just be like, yeah, he went to a dentist on the weekend, had it taken off. I don't know. There are nitpicks and everything, but you know.
So, I mean, let me ask you, overall, where would you rate this season, and what are some hopes, dreams, predictions for the next season that you have, and what are you hoping that they can fix in this next season coming up that you feel would get it at least a little bit smoother the next time around?
One of the you really can't fix too much what's already happened because it would just come across as you're just backtracking. But addressing, Miguel, the last thing that we see, I think, is him getting beaten up, and then him at the new Eagle Fang Miyagi dojo or whatever. I would like it if he still had some sort of. I know kids bounce back pretty easily, but damn, like he bounced back pretty easily. So I don't think there's too much you could do there, except maybe like I don't know. There's nothing you could do, nothing you can really fix, because I don't think there's too much to fix. I mean, maybe have some of. I want to see why Kyler is such a dick. Why is he a dick? Why? Is he just supposed to be a dick? There's nobody in Cobra Kai currently. You can make a case for Tori. And I still don't understand. I just disagree with you on There's only one time this season where I felt a little sorry for her. Was that with that guy who got his finger cut off with a cigar cutter? And that transition with the hot dog, that was good.
Man, that was some great visualization. Which is, see, my whole thing is I would just like them to make smoother transition between the plot lines. I had a big problem with them introducing Japan and not expanding on that. I think if they want to bring in these other characters, I think that did have an impact, and it was important overall to when we get to the end when they fight. But I felt like they should have highlighted it a little bit more, should have made it more of a journey so that it felt more impactful when we got to that moment. And this is just my issue.
It was more impactful. I mean, it really was. But you could. What are you going to do? Have him on? What else are you going to have him teach? I wish that he was there for a little bit longer, but. Again, wouldn't his wife just be like, "Hey, where are you?" He's like, "Don't worry, I'm getting this done, I guess."
I mean, there's so many things they play around with, and you could have had him maybe have a conflict because clearly he liked that the girl from the second Karate Kid, and maybe play around with maybe he still has some lingering emotions that might create tension in his marriage. Yeah, that stuff happens, man. That's realistic to real life. They had
nobody would have wanted that. No.
You don't just not have feelings for someone after you saved them from near death from a crazy guy.
We got nothing after that. Nothing. She never mentioned ever again.
But see that, and that's the thing. When you reintroduce someone, there should be more understanding on that.
I don't know, man. I just, I liked Allie a lot better. I think that made more sense.
I absolutely agree. I 100% loved that episode because it wasn't too much, but it was just enough. And I like the theme in that episode. I thought it was very well done of her pointing out that they were both jerks to each other. And, it really highlighted a running theme of each of the characters see the events differently. Like Johnny in his mind sees it differently, and LaRusso in his mind sees it differently. But at the end of the day, they're really the same.
She is the audience speaking right now.
Yeah. It's really.
That's why I think that this fourth season is probably going to be the last. but because it seems like everyone's had their path, everyone's had their moments, and it's going to be over. Like I just think it will be, unless something else happens, and then something else major happens, and then we get season 6, and I'm like, I am not thinking that this is the midway point. What else are you going to do? I invite more. I just maybe I don't know. At the end of season 2, I can make a lot more predictions of what could happen. I kind of had an idea of what they were going to go for. Here, I don't have as much of a clue. You mentioned predictions. Obviously, Johnny and Daniel are going to keep fighting over what the fuck or how the fuck they're going to teach their students, and it's going to be the same thing over and over. Like, no, this should be this way. This should be that way. They should have thought this through before this. And then the kids are going to be like choosing sides. And then maybe they'll get a dojo divorce or whatever. I don't know.
I've been doing this teaching for years, and I can honestly say I've never gone through a dojo divorce. I've always been committed to one dojo. So
well, that's good. I mean, maybe have the other senseis the same way? No?
No, it's interesting you should say that. Funny term. I don't know if anyone could hashtag that, hashtag dojo divorce. But you do have rivalries, and I have seen when you get the martial arts world, it can be a petty place. There's a lot of traditionalism where you have certain masters who feel like certain people shouldn't be learning their art. It's been passed down the line, that kind of a thing. So that stuff really happens. And it would be interesting
in that way, or like when Chosen has mentioned that Daniel was a foreigner. I'm just like, yeah, hey, look at that. That's in a way that's somewhat racist a little bit. It's just like, hey, Whitey, you can't learn the ways of Miyagi-Do. Like, you can't do that because you're not a part of the lineage. I'm like, that's what I kind of got. But anyways, he made up for it at the very end, by the way. Anyways.
See, that's a real thing, because if you guys don't know the history of Bruce Lee, while Bruce Lee was attacked by people from his own style of martial arts, why they sent people after him in real life was because they were mad because he was, and I'm quoting this is from the masters, he was teaching white people their arts, basically foreigners, people who have no rights, learning their martial arts secrets. That was a real thing. And people came after Bruce Lee, like, with the intent to hurt him and or almost kill him because of him. He felt martial arts was to bring people together, and that everybody can learn balance and harmony in their life through teachings. But the other masters felt like he was this young, cocky, brash person who was teaching these foreigners who could never grasp their concepts of how martial arts should be implemented. And I think that in itself is an interesting discussion. And I think with Cobra Kai, you could do something like that. You could, because they already play with that idea.
You definitely could have. That was a missed opportunity. I think Chosen and Kumiko's their arcs are done. It's over. They had their little appearance, and that was it. And honestly, Chosen was one of my favorite parts, aside from Wheelchair Miguel. When he did like the honk and he just started laughing, like I laughed with him. I thought it was great. And just like, I actually like this character now. Like I've even had to go back and rewind it a little bit just to see that part and just see him just cutting loose a little bit and just bursting out laughing, because he was a dick in the second one. He was gonna kill him, and then he had this enlightenment, and I just thought that was such a great arc, and it was so well done. I loved it. I could have watched that a lot more. Maybe you can have some sort of spinoff on that. To see Chosen's arc or something, that would be fun. It would be okay to see more Kreese stuff, but I think we already got enough background in this season. Maybe we
Oh
have.
yeah,
Are we going to
yeah,
take more of that?
yeah. I think Kreese, and I know people are gonna go, "Oh, Zodger villain," but Kreese is one of my favorite characters because I completely understand his mindset, having been through it. I know what that feeling is like. He's the sad case of the war never leaves you. You come back bringing that with you. I've seen it 1,000 times, and that's why I can't really hate him. I mean, yes, he's a terrible person. Yes, he clearly manipulates people,
I don't have a
but there's
problem with that, but like when I don't know, there's some things that I'm just like, really, this is karate. Like, this is for children. What? Why? What is the point? Like, what is your what is your goal? And kicking out all of these students who are paying you money to why can't you have like a preliminary class for students who aren't as hardcore and teach them the ways? This is what he was doing earlier when I guess Johnny technically owned Cobra Kai, but when he was off on his adventure with his friends and stuff, on the motorcycle trip, you remember that? When Kreese was there, he was very slow with how he was presenting his ideas. He was more like, I understand, but he was trying to reason with them a lot more. And here he was just like, no, get out. Like, are you serious? You're turning away a bunch of students. You're living in a dojo. Like, you need the money, dude.
Yeah, and see, that was my
You're letting Robbie, here rent free.
And that was my things too when I talk about them kind of rushing. There's a lot of places where we could pick, and in particular in this season where they did some of the threads and things they did. It went against what they established in the second season and kind of pacing his arc. It felt very sped up. And now that you mentioned the thing with YouTube, it makes sense. They're like, oh, if we don't get another season, we need to get all of this out, before because we might be canceled. And then thankfully Netflix was like, nah, we'll take the most popular show YouTube has ever made, because they don't care. But yeah, I think that season 4 they should take their time, really flesh out some of this stuff. And I have to backtrack, but definitely go over and slow some things down, especially if you want to get to a 5th and 6th season. Maybe show some different conflicting sides to Creasy, like they did in the 2nd season, right? Show that deep down there's just a damaged guy, and maybe he takes particular interest in Robbie, and then he actually really starts to see him like a son. You know what I mean? Maybe that softens him up, something like that, to where you can give different layers. Because the one thing I always appreciated about this show was getting the layers that we never saw in the movies of these characters.
We saw them, but it was not explained.
Yeah,
what I mean. If you were smart, you could pick up on them, but because they were vague. By the way, I just want to point this out. No one knows Martin Cove's actual age. He's I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I was just going on his Wikipedia because I was like, he's like 75 years old.
Oh yeah, man, he's up there.
Look, he's not getting any younger. So look,
and he's scary still.
He really is too, and he does really well. My thing is, I really don't want. What I fear is that if they extend it too much, by like a few years, that anyone can go any day. I do not want anything to happen to him in these next 3 years. I don't want anything to happen for a while. But man, if something happens to him, is this show screwed?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. They'd have to do so much of a course correction. Henrika brought up a good point. She said at General Zod's Phantom Zone, My
They could fall
husband,
back on Terry Silver, but I mean,
oh,
I
I
don't even
mean,
want to think about that.
my friend's husband came back from Iraq ruined, and it destroyed him and his family. He was an experienced officer, but the deployment screwed him up. And yeah, see, that's why I connect with that storyline, because it's like, yeah, I do understand that way of thinking, because it's not something that you can bounce back from. And I feel like his through the martial arts school and through these kids, he kind of gets out the anger towards the world through them. Maybe that's his way of striking out at the rest of the world, and how he got a bad deal. Because when you really think about it, man, the Vietnam War was horrendous. I personally feel like if we went in to win, we could have won it. And I mean, I know this goes into like other stuff, but and that's not the point. I don't like to get into that, all that stuff. But the highlight is I've talked to a couple of people who've been through that. And it's just a terrible thing. So I can connect with the character on that and kind of understand where it comes from. But where they kind of take it over the top is how it's portrayed through the kids, because it's like, some of this stuff is illegal. They broke into LaRusso's house at the end, and like no one's touched on it. Like they broke into his house and they broke stuff in his house. I mean, that's really against the law. Like granted, probably LaRusso wouldn't call the cops on him or whatever else, but you have the neighbors and stuff like that. I mean, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, they brushed through that too. They were just like, okay, we'll forgive some of you who have come to our side. By the way, are they gonna charge the students now?
That's an interesting question.
Johnny needs the money. Daniel's like, I got plenty of money in the world. Like, and they're just gonna start charging the Miyagi-Do students now.
That's a great point. See, there's a lot of things, and look, it's not to say
that's another conflict that Johnny and Daniel can have.
Oh, money, yeah, because
dude, I don't want to do this for free. I can't. Like, I can't do this for free. I'm living in Reseda.
That could be a real world issue. But no, I think that it's important that even though you like something, it's still good to point out the things that could be worked on, because look, nothing there, you got not nothing, but there's very few things that I could actually say in this world that is the perfect movie or the perfect show. You can find just about anything and pick apart anything. The question is, would I? Yeah, Henrique brought up a great point too. They also smashed up the dojo and stole a snake from the zoo. There's a lot of things in this season that kind of just glaze over. And my whole thing is, would I still recommend this?
Again.
I know, twice. So my whole thing was, would I recommend this as a fan? I'd say, yeah. It wasn't the most terrible thing I've seen. They didn't ruin the whole show. It wasn't nothing like that. But
nope.
Would I say I do start to see a sort of decline maybe happening if they drag it along? Then yeah, I could see if they keep it going just for the sake of keeping it going, then yeah, you're going to take something that was special and kind of ruin it. Because like you said, the story is naturally kind of coming to this end point. If you continue, then it just gets into really ridiculous, and you got to make up really more convoluted excuses for things happening. So I just hope that if season 4 is...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm hoping that if season 4 is the stopping point, they just stop and they don't just do it for the money. I think we can both agree on that.
Sure. I can see it at it ending season 5, possibly. I don't know about 6. I just don't know. I'm not thinking season 6. Where do you want it to end? Like, where do you want it to, like? And by the way, how many more times are they going to have like an epic fight at the end?
That's what I mean. I mean,
they did it at the school. They did it at the LaRusso house. What's going to happen in season 4? They're going to probably just fight at the All Valley, and all the kids just are like, yeah, we're just going to, I don't know, fight everyone, and everyone in the crowd, even the parents, start doing karate. I mean, the stupidest thing ever, but I can see it happening.
Yeah, I mean,
By the way,
And
it
this
is, and if they extend the season, I think what Kreese had said was, we're like, I won't do this anymore, depending on what happens at the All Valley. Like, bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. No, you're not.
yeah, I think that it would be,
Unless he wins, then he's like, hey, deal's a deal.
I mean, I think that it would be, this seems like some final stakes, like people's careers are on the line in the world of martial arts. I think this would be a good stopping point. Like whoever wins, bam, they walk away. That's, that's kind of the end of it, and just let it end organically, because the mistake a lot of great shows make is that they don't know when to end it, and they just keep it going. So I would like to see this show at least end on a decent note, and we get a good resolution. And look, endings, no one's going to be happy with any ending that you give. There's always going to be that person out there who'll be like, yeah, it was a good ending, but I thought it sucked because I didn't see this happen. One of my favorite shows of ever. Well, I got two of them, but
hey, hold on to that thought. I gotta use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
But yeah. So yeah, you guys let me know, what do you think about where their stopping points should be. Henrika says, I do like that they showed Samantha's PTS. Yeah, I like that too. I thought that was one of the strong points in the show. Oh my goodness, my battery. But anyways, yeah, I agree with you. I thought that was actually a good highlight, showing that there was effects from that. I'm hoping that the show in general just knows when to stop, knows when to have a good end point, and doesn't just continue to make episodes and seasons just for the sake of making episodes and seasons. There's a clear difference between when you first start something and you're passionate about it versus you just doing it because now everyone likes it and there's a pressure from studios to keep making money until there's just nothing left and people walk away from your show. So, it's it'll be interesting to see where they take it, which way they go. Honestly, I'd say out of all three seasons for me, this was the weakest season. It had a lot of moments I liked in it. It had some decent character development in certain characters, but overall, I feel like a lot of the stuff that was in it did fall short from what we got from the first and the second season. I felt like Johnny was kind of pushed a little bit in the background in this season. And I understand they wanted to develop LaRusso and stuff like this, but this is another contention that I have. When you introduce so many elements into a story, you're going to eventually have to push aside some characters and things like that.
What were you just talking about?
No, I was just giving my overall thoughts, which was I thought this was the weakest season.
By default.
But I still am excited. I'm still a fan.
Yeah.
And I think it's still
they left on a good
achieves.
note. It was a good cliffhanger.
It was, and I think that tighten up the story a little bit, fix a little bit of rushing things, and I think that they could be on track and we can have a good ending. What do you think?
Look, if they have a plan, they have a plan, and I trust that. They have not broken my trust. They did rush this season. I hope they take the criticism, like the legitimate criticism that the fans have, and apply that and understand that, yeah, there are some things that could have worked better. But ultimately, if you have a plan, and here's one thing that I think would be kind of funny. What is their end goal? What is their end game, if you will? What would it be? And what I hope it isn't, I hope it's not every single character we've seen in the movies and in the show all fighting together that would be the cheesiest, stupidest thing. Like it
Oh,
would be like
God,
it would be like the
everybody hold
fucking
their hands for it.
Avengers. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh
And
my God,
everyone's if they do it, it has to be the series finale. Like if they did, but I think that that's gonna happen. I honestly think it's gonna happen. Legitimately, like imagine like Terry Silver, Mike Barnes, Kreese, and then you have Johnny, Daniel. You'll have Julie fighting hell. I don't know, fucking throw in Elizabeth Shue. Like,
oh God.
I don't know, man. And then have people from the next Karate Kid. Who are the people that haven't appeared yet besides Terry Silver and Mike Barnes?
I mean, you could have Hilary Swank. Remember, Hilary Swank was in.
No, I mean, who do they have left? Who do they have left? Like, they're gonna just fucking include everybody. I do think that they're gonna. I do think at some point you might have a gathering of certain people, like flashback to Miyagi's funeral, probably, and then he meets Julie there. Then they exchange contact information or whatever. I can see that happening.
Henrika says
the ending is, and they all live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's the thing with starting one of these shows, is that it always ends terribly or cheesy, or it's not always satisfying. Like what? I mean, I think Endgame is the exception to, okay, this is a fine finale. This was good. I'm satisfied. It's over. And I don't know, man. Like Return of the Jedi was kind of the same way. But nah, how many endings of a TV show can you think that just end like, all right, perfect ending. That was great.
For me, there's been
shows,
and one of them is going to be controversial.
Okay,
but one was Breaking. Oh God, no! I hated that show. Breaking Bad, because there's so many. Vince Gillian is just an amazing director, and there's so many callbacks he makes at the end of the series, leading up to that point. He even there's a scene where there's a watch that Jesse gives Walt, and this watch is highlighted for like numerous different episodes, and the watch has a purpose. Like every single thing he ever put in that show all leads to an end point, and it's a very satisfying ending for me. It was really the only way the show could have ended. And
it was
of course,
for me, so that's why I don't ever want to watch it.
Yeah, I don't want to say it out loud because Bitchy is going through it for the first time. But
How many times have you seen all 6 seasons? Or are there just 6 seasons?
Yeah, I've seen them 4 or 5 times.
It's okay. I've seen the first season about a dozen times.
So yeah, I mean, and Sopranos. Now everybody argues with me, but I thought that ending was brilliant because it was the first time in television history that a director dared pull an ending like that. And years later, he's finally come out and explained it. And I thought it was brilliant because the camera just cuts to black, right? It's an infamous scene for anyone who remembers that it came out and people thought the television set fucked up and stuff like that. They were angry. But what it symbolized was they're playing Journey, and he's sitting in a diner, and the camera is panning to different people, and you have no clue what's going on. And then we're like getting his breathing and stuff. He's breathing heavily. He's looking, all of his family is coming in, and you're thinking they're just setting up for another like moment. And then it just goes to black. And what the director said was that was like Tony being shot. But when you first start the show, it looks like his eyes opening. It just like cuts to him sitting in a psychiatrist's office. It's brightly lit and everything else. And when you get to the end of the show, it cuts to black because, when you die, the show was essentially shown through his eyes, right? So if he gets shot, that would be his perspective of he just died. So, I mean, I thought that was brilliant because no one And like that's a subversion of expectation because no one ever saw that coming, and he let people speculate what happened, which I just thought was even more maniacally brilliant because it's like people are like, this is bullshit and stuff like that. But when you really think about that ending, he's a mobster who did horrendous things for like 8 years in this show, and he outright killed his own nephew and things like that. There was no other way the show was going to end for Soprano except for his death.
Well, now I'm not. That's another show I'm not going to see. Thanks.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, I had to highlight that because it was controversial at the time, and some people still salty about it now.
Of opinion. I heard that there were mixed feelings, but I don't know. I don't really care. I don't. I can watch The Godfather again and be just as satisfied.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Less time and much less time. It's all the same fucking thing, isn't it? Like that. Like I could watch Goodfellas, less time, same effect. I could watch. Yep. What was there was another Scorsese film that was really good.
Departed.
Oh, I saw that for the first time last night, and the ending was spoiled for me, but I still enjoyed the fucking ride. It was awesome.
Yeah,
maybe that contradicts what I was saying earlier. Perhaps I don't know.
Oh, thank you for letting me know. Mayhem on the.
Oh, it was Casino.
Oh, yes, Casino. That was a great movie, too. But, yeah, there's so many ones that have done that. I think what made The Sopranos unique was just the insight into the family dynamic and them going through as they're growing up. They grew up with the show and seeing what it was like from when they were kids to a teenager, knowing what their father does and stuff like that. I like that progression and the conflict with him. Like, it's like, you hold out hope because he's so likable that he could change, and you see sparks of like a decency in him. But then as you go on, you just find out, yeah, he's a pretty evil dude.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough then. But I mean, I can't think of any season that's, a series of television that's better than the first season of Cobra Kai. That's what usually gets a lot of people. I've showed this to many people. Every single one of them have, at least most of them, 9 times out of 10, keep binging. Even people I like barely know. Like my roommate and her friend were watching something, and I was like, "Hey, there's this, Cobra Kai. It's on YouTube. Why don't we watch it, dudes?"
Yeah, I think.
And they were hooked. They were like, "Okay, we'll watch a couple episodes." And then her friend was like, she just said, "Oh my God, this is great. I did not know that this was going to be, we were going to watch this the entire night because it's so good." I'm like, yeah, man, that's what happens like when you are subjected to really good television and you never know.
That's the important part.
Was that?
I think that's the important part, to just keep good television going, because God knows we lose a lot of stuff going down. So I kind of want to start wrapping things up because I got another stream at 8:00. If you guys don't know, I'll be on with Father Zod. We're going to be talking about a particular topic that should be interesting, about a certain actor you guys might know who's actually a really decent actor and answers their fans back, even if they disagree with their opinion. So I want to highlight this person because, I found it refreshing that there are still people who are in that world that are willing to talk and engage with their fans and not be nasty or rude about it. So, and this happened to my dad, so he's going to talk about this Twitter thread. We're going to pull up the tweets and show you guys, but yeah, definitely tune in and find out.
Do that. They interact quite frequently.
Yeah, I think it's cool when
a couple of actors threads with them. One of them, liked Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, and I'm like, no, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and I'm like, why? Why? Like this is it, I don't know. And he just had his opinion. I'm like, I disagree, but it was fun. It's like they're engaging. Like they even, and this is how they handled a continuity error. They had on a birthday card or something for Sam back in like season 2 or something. The age was inconsistent. Like she was born in this year or something, and then in the previous season it's like, oh, I'm 16, but if you were born this year, like when this is being made, you don't like you wouldn't be. It doesn't match up. It's inconsistent. And so I was thinking, like, oh, wow, like you totally made a mistake. And then they just said, oh, the LaRussos are just very bad at math. Like, okay, fine. Like, yeah, hey, that's one way to write yourself out of a potential plot hole. Just have fun with it. Just be like, I don't know. They didn't have time to do it. Or that's what a good writer does. Not say like, you're wrong for pointing that out. By the way, I have something pulled up here that you're going to love.
Oh, okay. And Henrika, this is going to be on my channel. Oh, dear God. Literally at 8 o'clock, I'll be doing that stream. So that's why.
Oh, where'd it go?
Oh, it's I
here we are. Yep. Do you see it in the photos? Billy Zabka. You not see it? Billy fucking Zabka right here. This is in Cobra Kai. You thought I was joking, weren't you?
No. I mean, I know that you like really scrutinize these things, but that's hilarious. You found that. I don't know how many people would actually find that.
Because this is how big. This is how big it appeared on my screen, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. There you go. You're welcome. How do they? And they didn't respond to my critique.
Some of the writers are probably like, shit, someone found it. They know.
I'm like, ha, I feel like one of those assholes who are like, ha, I found an error. Like, it pains me to do it. It pains me to do it, but here we are. Here we are. You delayed this by 7 months, and you couldn't just be like, we'll blur this out or something. No. You couldn't have Miguel put his finger on it. Like, okay, we're going to cover this up. Or crop it a little bit. No. Nothing. You just accepted the fact that there's Billy Zabka on it. What is your way of writing out of this? Good luck. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to write your. I'm not going to do it for you. Good luck.
Oh, anyways, man, I've had a great time. I'm gonna start winding things down because I want to get something to eat and hang out with her a little bit before I do another stream in about an hour and some change. So, yeah, I appreciate having you on. You want to give people any new content you got coming out? Maybe something you can break here in the fandom zone. Something you haven't told anyone you got coming out.
Not really.
Yeah, I just like I build up all that suspense.
This Week in Bullshit is returning next Thursday, and we're gonna keep it going. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
In Bullshit, aren't you supposed to have Rob Rules on?
Sometimes, whenever he shows up.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool, man. Like.
Oh yeah, I wanted him to be on. He's honestly the most gracious and just most appreciative of anyone on here. One of the nicest dudes.
Oh yeah. I did a stream with him earlier. He's a really nice guy. I enjoy always when I get a chance to go on his channel. So he's really he's a really great guy and very passionate about all the stuff that he follows and. I'd even like to do some Star Wars stuff with him and things like that. But yeah, go check out Proper Jeremy because This Week in Bullshit is hilarious.
God damn it!
Why did I say proper, Jeremy? Because you're always doing things properly, but I forget there's so many of you Jeremys that I'm sure someone.
Dude,
Oh man,
it's been a fucking
Justin.
year and some change.
You know, it's funny. I remember that.
Yeah, it's been a year and a half since I've been proper Jeremy. People still call me like, oh, it's gonna be coming up to 2 years, and people are still calling me, especially Snowdub, fucking proper Jenny. You will never let it go.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was hilarious. We've had so many good.
3 fucking months. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was your transitioning period, right?
And now I'm a Latino kid in a wheelchair.
It's come full circle. Oh man,
Yeah.
but look, everyone enjoyed your stream. So guys, if you enjoy them, go check out his channel. Show him some love and check out This Week in Bullshit. And hopefully, man, I can have you back on here because I really enjoyed this talk. It was really great catching up with you. It was great talking about something we both really love. And
We bounce off of each other very well.
yeah, and you're always funny when you come on. So it's always great to have you in the fandom zone.
Great being here.
All right. So, anyways, in about I'm not good with math, but I'll just say an hour 15, 14. I'm going to have on Father's Odd. We're going to talk about this thing we're going to talk about. I don't want to give anything away, but it's going to be great. I'm going to throw up the promo for it as soon as I'm done with this.
Throw up?
So,
are you okay?
No, the promo.
You're gonna throw up on the
promo. It'll be on my Twitter.
That's horrible.
So it'll be on my
shit all over it.
It'll be on my Twitter. And next Tuesday, I have a huge guest coming on. Super excited. I got Come Geek Some, who's gonna be here from the UK. Bloody hell! Oh, that was terrible. I got a bone up on that.
That was horrendous.
That was the worst ever.
See, when you try to do it, it doesn't really work all that much. You know, it has to come and flow in naturally. You know, just a little bit.
Yeah. My Bitchy can do the greatest British accent ever. She just cracks me up.
I don't know, but maybe.
But yeah, it's gonna be great. We're gonna have Come Geek Some on here. We're gonna talk, of course, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, but I'm more gonna interview him on his channel and talk with him about how he got started, why he started his channel. Justin, you've seen my Fandom talks. It's gonna be one of those, and get some people to check him out and get a better look at the creator, because here on YouTube, with everything we talk about, people can forget that we're still people. We still have our personal interests and stuff. And I love this segment because it gives you guys an inside look at what the creator, how they started their channel, why they started their channel, what they're trying to provide for you. And I think that enhances the experience that you get, because when you learn about everybody started for different reasons, but we all kind of came together on the same issues. And I think it gives people a look at the person as well as the YouTuber, because a lot of what we do, if you're good at YouTubing, is you put a little bit of yourself inside what you do. And, I'm about finding out what that is and what makes it tick. I'm going to get my Walter Cronkite and, it'll be Henriquez.
Do what to Walter Cronkite?
I'm gonna get my Walter Cronkite god. Oh, and Henriquez says that was terrible. Plus, he is Welsh, so it is even worse. Oh my goodness.
Who's Welsh?
Come Geek Some. He's gonna be my guest on next.
What's the difference between the accents? Are there slight?
I think that would be good for me, a good thing for me to ask too. See, these are the thing why I do Fandom Talks, because I get to learn stuff.
Like Irish, I
that
get,
don't know
but
about.
I don't see the difference between like Welsh. I did like I guess it means it took me a long time to know where like, oh, this is like a Welsh band, a Welsh actor. I'm like, what the fuck country is named Welsh? And I
Oh
it
yeah,
was so stupid. I
there
was so
is
stupid. I didn't know it
there
was
is
supposed to be Wales.
yeah
People just
there's
consider it part of the UK, because Americans aren't. Well, their geography sucks. But they're
yes,
so
we all are
self-important.
geologically
Yeah.
horrible picking out different things. But see, this is why I'm going to do this segment, because I like learning things about like that. I like learning different things about people, and especially different content creators that I enjoy listening to. So come check that out next Tuesday. And thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you. You're all breathtaking. And remember, there's only one rule here in the Fandom Zone: kneel before General Zod.
Fuck that.